Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at the Star Wars The Black Series gaming greats Darth Malak from the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic game. This came out way back in the early 2000s. I used to love this game growing up. Here we get a nice side view, a nice view at the back of the box. Pause video here if you want to read that. I'll zoom in a little bit if anybody's interested. All right, and then you got another nice view of the figure. I'm pretty sure this is a digital rendition of the figure. I'm not sure it's an actual image, but regardless, looking pretty great. Going to be 6.5 inches tall. So big Darth Malak. And here's a front view of the box. So let's go ahead and crack this bad boy open and see if he lives up to the hype. All right, and we got him out of the box, looking awesome. So let's get a closer look at this Darth Malak. So first of all, look at the stance that I got him in. I got him with just one foot flat on the ground, the other one perched up just a little bit like he's walking towards you. Not the best posing I've ever done, but looking pretty cool. And I'm surprised that I was able to do that without a stand or anything like that. Though I will say if I do rock this table, boom, comes in right over. So taking a closer look, he is a really, really well done figure as far as sculpt is concerned. We got this really awesome looking, I guess it's a tunic right here. So we got this tunic right here made out of this brown plastic, and it's again supposed to resemble fabric, so it has that texturing on there. But I like that they decided to go with plastic for the tunic and then actual soft goods for the cape. I always prefer. Well, not always, but for the most part, I tend to prefer the soft good cape. In this instance, yeah, definitely was a good idea to go with the soft goods cape and then the plastic goods tunic. I think a soft goods tunic probably wouldn't have looked all that great here, but this looks really good. The ruffles on the side right here all sculpted in, and again, all the sculpting is made to look kind of like, fabric. So I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but it looks really good. And then this plastic over here, it has a more matted finish to it, not as glossy as the arms, but it also is smooth. It doesn't have that fabric-y texture to it. And you see that going down here, right, on the pants and everything. So it's looking good. And then the chest, it looks like it's a different shade of red. And I think the reason for this to kind of resemble armor, I think this is supposed to be some kind of like maybe Beskar, or maybe not Beskar, that's more Mandalorian, but just some kind of, steel or something like that. Some kind of armor here, so it has a different shade of metal, a more metallic-y metal to kind of reflect that, which, it does make sense seeing that his like neck brace right here is all supposed to be made out of steel, and it's this chrome material, so I think that really works right here. The only complaint I have about the body and about, really about the body is more, there's no paint detail really on the body anywhere. And this is such a good sculpt that I feel like this figure would have benefited by having some kind of wash over it, all over the red, just to kind of bring the texture out and make it pop a little bit more. I think it really would have benefited from that, because in my opinion, the reds on this are a little too flat, and it could use something to just kind of give it that more weathered look, So that's kind of my complaint there. But overall, I think it looks really, really good, even without the weather, even without the wash over. I think it looks really, really awesome. As far as the helmet, let's get into the helmet, because this is where it gets really cool. And I'll bring the light down closer here. This mask and this helmet is incredible. Like, I think this looks so good. The paint on the chrome is so shiny and reflective, and it really gives off the idea that this is actually made of metal. And the coolest thing about this whole thing is it comes off. So if you come over here, you're going to see a little lip right here, and you're going to peel that off, boom, and then same with this other side, and then you get this awesome, gnarly looking lower jaw that it has all this damage, sculpted in, and you can't really tell, but they've they've used different colors of paints here to really kind of bring depth to these injuries on his jaw. So it really looks cool. Again, I think it could have used a wash to just make those details pop even more. But then again, it might have made the head look a little too grotesque. So, you know, it's kind of up to your own, you know, own preference. I think it could have used a wash, but overall, I still think he turned out really cool. So to get him back in place with his helmet, just come over here, put this side on first, grab this piece, put this side on over here. Boom, pretty easy to get on. And then there we are, we're back on. My only, I guess, real issue with the helmet is on the back of the head. You kind of see these gaps right here that I'm not sure are accurate. Like, can't really tell, but there is a bit of a gap here. Minor complaint, very, very minor. I still think he looks great. So now that we've kind of gotten a look at him, let's get a look at the articulation. So with articulation, you kind of know what you're going to get with the Black Series. You're going to get, you know, able to T-pose pretty well. You know, he's got shoulder rotation. Shoulders go in and out. Then as far as the elbow is concerned, he has a single jointed elbow that goes a little past 90 degrees, just ever so slightly. Then he's got elbow swivel right here. Then as far as his wrists are concerned, he has vertical movement, so his wrist can go up and down on this like disc hinge. Same with the other wrist. I'm kind of torn with these wrists. I prefer a ball joint where I can go, you know, vertical and horizontal. However, you know, this, it kind of gives you one set of movement. Which again, for the lightsaber is probably ideal. You want him to be able to move his wrist like that for the lightsaber as opposed to this. But I just prefer the ball hinge here that I can do whatever I want with it and I'm not restricted. Hasbro, if you're listening, ball hinge, or if you're not going to do the ball hinge, I know this is more expensive, but give us an extra set of hands with the wrists moving in the other direction. Because when you have it set to one way, fine, it is what it is. One thing that Hasbro does a lot, which I despise, when they give you one hand that moves like this and the other hand that moves like this, either give us one set of one type or you give us both. Don't give us this halvesies. Like that's the absolute worst. Luckily, we don't have to deal with that here, but you know, we do have the limitation on the wrist. So putting that out there. Then he's got, so his torso articulation is two pieces. First of all, he's got his chest articulation alone, right? So it's moving up and down. And then he's got his waist articulation on his torso. And this seems to be a ball joint down here. Actually, it seems to be a ball joint up here too. So we got two ball joints, it looks like. And he's got pretty decent range. He can go back pretty far, forward a little bit. And then his legs go out this far, legs kick up about that far, could kick up further if he didn't have this tunic, but it is what it is. And then he has one point of articulation at the knee with a knee swivel, so that's great, and it can go a 360. This little dip right here in his kneecap kind of blocks it, but it could, if it wanted to, go all the way around. And then lastly, we have ankles that go up, they go down, and they have ankle pivot. So now that we kind of have gotten the articulation, oh, and then also the head, you know, his head can look up about that much, he can look down about that much, and that articulation is increased if you take off the head, off his mouthpiece, then he can go look a little further down, and he can look about the same up. So if we get everything back together, we'll do some size comparisons, but overall, as far as articulation is concerned, pretty standard Black Series figure. But I think, again, what everybody is most excited to see with this guy is a size comparison, because I think there is going to be a little bit of controversy with his size. So let's go ahead and get him standing up straight. And you can see sitting right here. Let's put him in a cool pose, some kind of cool Sith pose, right? So let's get him with, you know, one hand holding the lightsaber, or two hands holding the lightsaber. Let's get him on this side, and let's get him looking right at us. Perfect. So let's compare him to some other figures that I have. So readily available, I have another Sith Lord back here. I've got the Darth Vader on the New Hope body. This is not the Return of the Jedi version. This is the New Hope version with the removable helmet. And as you can see, they are at just about the same size. Malak is a bit taller than him. Actually, Malak is decent, noticeably taller than him. He is noticeably taller than Vader. I'm not sure how you feel about that. These two, characters obviously never met each other in lore, so, it doesn't really matter what their size is compared to each other because, again, these characters never met each other. But, some people will have their issues. I personally don't know if I like Malak being bigger than Vader. It's not because he's bigger than Vader. You'll see here in a little bit what my issue is, but I do think Malak is a little too big here. So let's get Vader back over where he belongs. And now let's take a look at my custom Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan. He is based off the Archive series Obi-Wan. Clearly it's the same body. Really the only thing custom about him is this robe and that lightsaber. But as you can see, he's a standard 6-inch Black Series figure, and Malak is just towering over him. Again, not a big deal because these characters have never met each other in lore, but there is an argument here that Malak is just a little too big. Really, the main culprit of this debate will be shown here in a second. So let's move, and since I already have him in my hand, here's Luke, Dagobah Luke, standing next to Malak. Again, Malak just towers over him. So the comparison I think everyone really cares about, other than Bastila Shan, because I don't have her yet. But the one that I think everyone is really, and I may have pronounced Bastila's name wrong, so apologies for that. But the comparison I think everyone really actually cares about is between Malak and his old master, Darth Revan. So here's where the controversy kicks in, guys. So if you have any memory of Knights of the Old Republic, you'll know that these characters are associated with each other, Darth Revan being the master, Malak being the apprentice, and basically, long story short, spoiler alerts, if you have never played Knights of the Old Republic, the character you've created all along is Darth Revan with memory loss. So at the end of the game, you as Darth Revan are going to go up against Darth Malak, your old apprentice. So where the controversy lies? Well, within the game, it's been a while since I played it myself, but within the game, I'm not sure there is a clear distinction on who is bigger, whether it's Malak or Revan. I think if there is, it probably leans toward Malak a little bit. However, if I recall, there isn't a great distinction in the game on their heights. It's either Malak might be a little bit bigger or they're about the same height. Now, when it comes to concept art and artwork of these two characters, that I have seen a whole plethora of. And overall, the consensus in the artwork is they're either the same size or Revan is the one that's a little bit bigger. Rarely, if ever, do I see artwork depicting Malak being the bigger of the two. So then the question is this Malak figure too big? Or is this Revan figure just too small? Well, overall, my overall consensus here is, so the question here is, which one is, start again. So I guess this begs the question, is Malak too big of a figure or is Revan too small of a figure? Well, my thoughts here are that Malak, he might be a little too big, But overall, I don't have an issue with it, so I'm going to say that he's just right. I think his height is just right. I think him compared to, again, to other Jedi like Obi-Wan, or to troopers, for example, like right here we have our Sith trooper. I think Malak is perfectly sized. I like my Sith Lords being bigger than my troopers, so I think this is perfect. I think, if anything, Revan is just too small. We need a new Revan figure on a new body mold, something a little bit bigger. We just need it upscaled because, again, Revan, in my eyes, should either be the exact same size as Malak or a little bit bigger. But this, where Malak is significantly bigger, I'm not feeling this really. I would like to see Revan re-released in a larger scale, and this hood. This hood is the worst thing on the planet. You can't move his head. You're so limited on your pose or your posing because of this hood. So re-release this guy, make him bigger, figure out something with this hood. But whatever you guys got going on here needs to change. Overall, though, let's get Revan out of the way. I think Malak is a hell of a figure. I think he is definitely a must-buy, especially if you are a fan of Knights of the Old Republic. It's definitely a must-buy. And if you already have the Bastila figure, even more so. Like, you need this guy to go up against her and a Revan. Again, Revan that we currently have in the Black Series, a little too small, but, you know, with some clever photography, clever angles, you can make it work. So it's not impossible. Overall, I had a great time with you guys. This is a great figure. I absolutely think you should pick it up if you have the chance. Don't let it slip through your fingers, because I have a feeling that this guy right here is going to go for mad money on the aftermarket. We'll see. Time will tell if that is true or not, but my feeling is snatch this guy up before he's gone. All right, guys, that was it. Thanks for joining me, and don't forget to subscribe, and we will hang out next time. Peace.